Aloha, everyone, in another level living land. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Freedom Fridays. So happy that you're here today because we are in store for an amazing treat. We have a special guest who's going to share with us mindful tips on how to be able to have mindful entrepreneurship through cultivating success with self-care strategies. You know already that the whole purpose of this show is to support you as the entrepreneur in achieving success in business and life harmony, because it really is two sides of the same coin. We never want to get so busy making a living that we forget to make a life, and it is possible to work smarter, not harder, stress less, strengthen your relationships, and lead with much more energy, ease, and momentum. I want you to give our special guest a warm welcome. Kari, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Aloha. It's so nice to be here, Dr. Heather. I appreciate you having me.
Totally our honor and pleasure. I want to tell you a little bit about Kari, and then we're going to get into this amazing wisdom that she has to share with us. So I want you to meet Kari Ainsworth, a boundless creative force, a master creatrix, and an internationally best-selling author with over 3 decades of illuminating the self-help arena. With a spirit as vibrant as the color she infuses into her artisanal soaps and candles, Kari's journey in the realm of self-help has been nothing short of extraordinary, right? So Kari's mission is simple yet profound, to help others help themselves. In a world where empowerment is often sought and externally, she stands as a beacon reminding us that the journey inward, where true transformation begins. Each candle she crafts, each word she writes, carries a mission, a guiding light for those ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Wow, Kari, that's amazing. Thank you so much for the work that you do in the world. Let's hear from you. Tell us why is this topic so important? And even what is your motivation about sharing it with us?
So I have pretty much been a caregiver almost my entire life. I mean, since I was a child, my great aunt lived with us, my grandparents lived with us. So I helped to take care of them. And then my dad got sick when I was 16. So I was trying to help him as well. Cared for my mother when she was getting older. And more recently, my husband's been diagnosed with Parkinson's. So caregiving has been a huge part of my life, and making sure that I'm my best self in order to care for them is what has propelled me to continue to share this message that we really need to take care of ourselves and not feel guilty about it, right? Oh, I don't have time to take care of myself. I've got to do all these other things. So that's been my mission, to help remind people that self-care isn't selfish and to do more of it.
Oh my gosh, Kari, I love that. I really appreciate you sharing your story of caregiving, and recognizing that, we're a lot of times we're caring for so many other people, our family, our friends, it can be this part where we focus so much on what's happening with everyone else that we put ourselves last, right? And that reminder about being able to shift that, like self-care is not selfish. It's actually selfless, because then we can be able to give more to those who are our loved ones from our overflow and not be depleted.
Right.
So
Exactly.
good. So good. So tell us, what are some of the strategies? What are some of the, before even getting into the strategies, what are some signs, right? What are some signs that are like that we may want to be aware of to be able to know that, okay, it's time for like more and more self-care.
Right, right. So I think the biggest one is, are you tired? I mean, Do you wake up tired? Are you going to bed exhausted? Are you not sleeping well? Um, what's your happiness level like? What's your productivity level like? So for me, I know that when I don't get enough sleep, I miss cranky pants and I don't get anything done. I find myself just like going in circles trying to be productive, but nothing is happening because I can't focus. I can't think straight because I'm so tired. So that's probably one of the biggest signs is that you need to work on your sleep.
Okay, I'm writing that down. Signs, sleeping, right? So, how do you sleep? How do you wake up in the morning? How do you go to sleep at night, right? That makes so much difference. Are we ready to just go rock it, like excited about the day? Or is there, oh my gosh, I'm still trying to recover from just yesterday? Is it morning already?
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, good to know. Any other signs that we should kind of be aware of?
So I think looking at our work life, and I hate to use the word balance because I don't think anything is ever particularly even. But really, are you eating at your desk? Are you eating on the run? Are you, what is your diet like? Are you eating relatively healthy? Do you have any sort of exercise routine? And are you feeling fulfilled in life? Those are all um, big focus points.
Oh,
Are
so
you
good.
spending time with people that you enjoy or not?
Okay. Wow. This is so much awareness. So everyone who's listening, pay attention to what some of these signs are, because now the strategies and wisdom that Kari's going to share next, that's going to help bring that together, bring that back into harmony. I appreciate, and this, we actually use the word harmony here at Another Level Living, because you're right. There could be times when one side of life needs more support than the other, or we have to pivot. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, you were talking about mindful, right? Mindful. A lot of times we can have our schedule so packed that if something happens, like you got to go pick up the kids or one kid is sick, then it just totally can take us off. So that is another thing too, paying attention to is there not enough time, or does time fly? Wow. So good.
Yeah. And I like that you said harmony. That's a great word to replace that balance, right?
Yeah.
And true that we tend to jam pack our schedules to the point where there's no wiggle room. So if your child is sick at school and you've got to go to, or your loved one has fallen and you now have to take them to the hospital. I mean, that can really mess up your day, right?
Yes, yes. And what's interesting though that we're talking about this is that it's in the response. That's what I'm learning, where like the biggest power is. If something happens and it just totally throws us off kilter, how do we respond? Like, do we freak out? Like, oh my gosh, I have this, and then that, that's a pattern that just requires a little bit more harmony inside, right?
Exactly.
Wow, that's so good. I appreciate you bringing that to the forefront, because so good. Okay, we want to hear these strategies. Tell us what are some of the strategies that can get us to the next level of self-care?
So I think a big misconception about self-care, a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time for self-care, or I don't have the money for self-care. And and a lot of people think of self-care as going to the spa or getting a massage and things like that. Whereas it could really be something as simple as turning off all your devices and sitting down and reading a book or just sitting in silence for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
It could be meal planning, but on a small scale. A lot of people get overwhelmed when it comes to meal planning. Maybe you just pre-make a couple breakfasts for the week, or you make your lunch the night before so you don't have to be stressed in the morning, trying to get lunch together. There are just so many simple ways to take care of ourselves without having to stress ourselves out, right? And
Yes.
and budget friendly ideas, maybe I know for me, I'm not a huge coffee drinker and I'm not one to go out to a local coffee shop, but on the weekends I might make a specialty flavored coffee for myself, or some Baileys might go into it or something like that, that makes it extra special. Um, Finding those little things that work for you, listening to a favorite podcast, right? Or having your own in-home skincare treatment. Um, I also love going to the library, right? Books are so expensive these days, but if I can go to the library and look at all the books that I might want to check out, that's like a great, and you don't even have to go to the library because nowadays you can download them onto your phone. So those are just a couple things to think about in order to incorporate some more self-care into your world.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. One of the things that I was thinking about as you were talking, I love to spend time out in nature. A lot of times nature has this really great, just rejuvenating pattern. So if you find yourself like overwhelmed in the day or something's going on, just take a minute to go outside and just breathe. And if you
Yeah,
want to hug a tree, if the tree is calling you, hug the tree and
right.
receive all that it has to recharge yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the beautiful thing is, we're coming into a full moon this weekend.
Ooh.
And this morning at breakfast, it had been raining, but when we looked out the window over breakfast, the moon was up over. So I just took that moment to just really appreciate the fact that the clouds had parted, the moon was shining down on us,
Nice.
and we were having our breakfast together. It was just a really nice moment to appreciate nature and all her beauty.
Oh, so good. Thank you. It's like it's beautiful that you were able to notice it, right? And stepping into gratitude. Like gratitude is just this beautiful place of self-care. And what was coming to me as you were talking was the need to just highlight a little bit more about why self-care is important, right? So you mentioned caring for other people, right? So for those of you who have many hats, right? It was a few weeks ago on the show we talked about the priorities of relationships, and we have our business, we have our family, we have our relationship with God, we have our relationship with the community. And who is the common denominator of all of these relationships? You got it. You, me, we all are, right? So when we own the beauty and the royalty of us as just being who we are, it allows the everything to radiate like we're the emotional GPS of the family, right? A lot of times. So how we go is how everybody goes. So if we're filled up and charged up and full of just less thinking, more trusting, being in the present, that will give permission for everyone else in your world to feel and do the same.
That's exactly right. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, any other nugget or wisdom that you want to share while we still have time?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many.
Okay.
But really, I mean, paying attention, right? That mindfulness of, am I getting all that I need so that I can give all that you need, right?
Mm.
I
So
mean,
good. That's like a
like,
mic drop moment.
I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
thank
Yeah.
you. Well, tell us, even if you want to elaborate on that, like as you think about what we talked about today, what is like the biggest thing that you want to leave us with?
So I pulled up a couple statistics, right?
Okay.
And while statistics can typically be boring, this kind of goes into the whole guilt thing about self-care. And I really want people to know that if you want your self-confidence boosted, if you want your productivity boosted, and you
Mm.
want your happiness boosted, self-care can do that. 64% of people found that their self-confidence was boosted. And it was 67% found that their productivity was increased, and 71% of people found that they were happier. So, I mean, don't you want more of that? I know I want more self-confidence. I want to be more productive, and I love being happy. So if I can do just a little bit for myself during the day, during the week, during the month, all the better. Yeah.
Nice. Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. I love that statistic because it's recognizing like the question, there was another question that came when you were talking, and maybe we can touch on it just a little bit. Was you mentioned guilt was one of the things that kind of gets in the way. But what else kind of gets in the way for people for commonly people to not see the essence of what self-care can bring?
That time,
Time.
right? Because we say we don't have enough time. But in reality, we all have the same 24/7. It's what you're doing with that time. My mom was a big proponent of taking a nap. My father was just the opposite. He was like, if you feel like you need a nap during the day, then you need to go to bed earlier. But my mom was like, if I can take a 15-minute nap, then I can do even more, and that productivity, right? So I'm going on my mom's side there, and I'm
I
gonna
love
get
that. Oh
the
my
nap
gosh, I
component.
love that. And last thing, I know we're this is so much gold in this. I want y'all to put in the biggest takeaways, the comments that you have about this message because it's so powerful. So very powerful. The thing that you were mentioning about the time, right? A lot of it has to do with even our beliefs about time. Sometimes we even adopt beliefs about time from our parents but that part about, okay, there's never enough time in the day, right? I got all these things to do versus time expands for me. I have plenty of things to do, right? It's this. So pay attention to that time factor. So the last thing that I'll also share is remember that the cave that you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. This is a quote by Robert Campbell, and it's so true. A lot of time that cave, maybe there's a lot of fear there or uncertainty there, but that biggest cave is self-care, right? So you go into the cave, you get the treasure of your self-care, your value, your worthiness, your kingdom, queendom, right? Like owning you and your uniqueness and your greatness, and then shine like the lighthouse leader that you are for everyone to be able to see in your world. And enjoy the journey. It brings back all of the word that's coming, Kari, is the fruit of the spirit.
Mm.
All of the love, all of the peace, all of the joy, all of the patience, all the forgiveness, right? It all starts with you. Kari, how can they get to know you more? Like, do you have a free gift for us or something to share?
I do. So they can go to my website, and I'm sure you'll put all the links in. My website is moonbeamsunlimited.com. And the gift I have is I created this beautiful guidebook to bring more self-care into your life. So it's the Self-Care Isn't Selfish guidebook. And it's a wonderful way to start your practice of incorporating more self-care into your life.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, perfect. So I will put the links in the chat. Make sure you grab your guide and get more connected with Kari and all of the amazingness that she does. Make sure you put your comments in the below. And the sharing is caring. So if you valued this message, which I'm sure that you did, go ahead and give someone else the gift of self-care and possibilities and transformations and share this out to the world. And we look forward to seeing you again on another episode of Freedom Fridays next week. Bye, everyone.